Good morning, everybody. Ace of Trades here. It's Thursday, May 7th. The Bible says in the book of Psalms, chapter 28, verse 6, Blessed be the Lord, because he hath heard the voice of my supplications. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusted in him, and I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoiceth, and with my song I will praise him. Yeah, thank God for all the help he's given me, for sure. On the chart, got the overnight high up here, overnight low down here. It's just kind of an awkward price action. I'm not really sure what to make of it. This all kind of looks like one move up and then, pushing down here. Maybe this is some sort of correction. And maybe now this whole push up here is some sort of choppy attempt to retest. But, it's really difficult to do anything with because of how choppy it is. It's hard to tell where the, inflection points are going to be. Um, so you just have to sit and wait that out until you get something uh, clear. So, interesting thing yesterday I saw on the main Pat's channel is I've never seen this before. He actually, during the chart review, he actually measures a trade, finds out it loses, and takes the arrow off the chart. So it's pretty much confirming what I've been saying the whole time that I've been on this channel about that, is that those arrows are all marked after the fact, after the winners are clearly evident. Channels are arbitrary. Channels are drawn to fit the way the price action played out. And I'm not really sure what the point of those things are then. If you're just, we can all go through here. I could come through here and I can say, oh, there's a push down, there's a break, new low. You know, that one's aggressive. You don't want to take that. And then you could say, well, here's a this high is higher than that high, so here you have a first entry. Here's a second entry. I go ahead and take that. So that's the main issue that I've have consistently talked about with that, is that it's not the things you see after the fact are not, there's not things that are repeatable. So if you're going through your chart and taking trades and then you're watching that to see, well, did so and so mark this? Did he mark that one? It doesn't really matter whether he marked it or not. You just, because he's just going to mark all the winners unless he makes an error. And so um, what you have to do is you've got to have a set of rules, and I talk about that. About I've got early on in my videos, even in the playlist where I have instructional videos, I kind of go over the basics of price action, the types of things that you're looking for, the trends, the breaks, retests, how tre- how prices behave in a range, and things of that nature. So those are the very basic things of price action that you can apply to your trading, and then you just have to wait for them to show up in a clear fashion that you can take action in your trades, right? Like I said, like this may be an uptrend that's trying to retest, but this is so choppy in here that this is not something, it's not really something you can take action on or have confidence in, where the swing points actually are, because of how choppy it is. You have to kind of wait for near term clear trends, clear breaks, clear entry points. That's what you have to wait for. Um, so all the other stuff is just, it's just noise. You're just fooling yourself, thinking that you're going to be able to consistently do all those things in real time, because obviously he's not doing it in real time and he's just marking things after the fact. So anyway, a little bit of a longer intro today, but yeah, we'll just keep watching the chart here. Okay, so what I see here is we had this downtrend. Kind of have to be careful a little bit here. I mean, nothing ever really set up here on any correction. Um, but you can see how he bounced in this same area here. So you have to be mindful of that, this is the main move down. This looks like two legs here and then this pushing down. So you have to be careful when you um, get another nice tight little trend that kind of bounces in the same area, because you could get trapped there if this ends up being an area of support. So you have to make sure you watch where your trends are, ending, if you're running into a support area or if you're running into a resistance area. And then so basically you got one big leg down, two second leg down, doesn't make the measured move. But then on a smaller picture, you've got this leg down, and then this one does make the measured move, and it looks like we're trying to go higher off of that. So it looks like right now we're kind of all played out to the downside. Um, and again, some guys they'll come in here, and I'm not a huge fan of this. It's ugly price action anyway. But they'll, after this breaks, and then you get a second leg down like that, they'll try to turn this into a wider trend, and then maybe try to take some entry off here, but it's just two legs down. It looks like a wider trend because of the uniformity of how prices like to print. You basically get there. What do I want to say? Some sort of geometrical pattern where it's not, this one's real nice and tight and this one's kind of choppy. But the way that they print and the way that the measured moves are made, it often then will create this sense of, when you put a channel on here and you have these areas of resistance, it'll create a sense of a wider channel. So I don't really care for those. I mean, sometimes these will work, sometimes they won't. And then when it works, they'll call this a key entry point. But you end up, these will fail on you. These wider trades off these, wider channels confirming the trend line will fail on you. Too much, in my opinion. So now this does look like this is behaving potentially because of how sharply this is pushing down. This looks like this is potentially behaving like it's a channel that wants to break and make a new low. So I don't know. And then, of course, you have this. This is interesting. I just noticed this. You had this little tiny area of where prices were getting supported, and as they pushed up, they ran into that area again, and now they're pushing off. So I have to think about that. If you get a couple legs that are clean, that push up into this area, maybe I think about entertaining that for a trade off there, depending on how it prints out. But this may just push down to the new low here. And then, of course, we'd be watching this area to see how prices react to it, because that's the overnight low. So I'm just kind of sitting and watching still. Okay, so you get, this doesn't end up, if you were looking at this as like two legs, you don't really get anything here. Once this does this sort of deal where it looks like this wants to push down but then can't, I'm probably not going to take anything else. Now you've pushed up through here. I think I stepped away for a little bit once we got this green bar here. Let's zoom in a little bit. Once we got this green bar here, this one, I stepped away. And so this pushes up, and you get a little choppy correction here. This pushes up for a new high. We can see this here. Is there something wider here? You just don't know yet. This could just totally fail and, push straight down through there. So, maybe you want to keep an eye on that for now. You got that sort of deal. So, just kind of waiting to see what happens. It's just very cluttered here, so there's nothing that I would try to take. Looks like maybe this channel is trying to hold, but you just never know. I mean, this push here never made it back up to the high. But the other thing is that I've learned over time is that maybe, when you're dealing with bigger structures, sometimes this ends up being like a push out it'll look like a wick on a bigger time frame, but I'll leave it there for now. It's just kind of wonky looking. It doesn't look great. So again, it's very choppy. Nothing here to try to take. I'm sure there's people getting trapped all over the place. I'm sure people went short here, then people just went long there, and it's just crazy with when you stop messing around in congestion and you just wait for clean stuff. Um, this just doesn't matter to you. So we'll just keep watching. All right, everybody. I just want to make a comment here. So you see there's a lower high printing here, but this is not a lower high that you would entertain because, prices are just, there's not any real clean area of resistance that it's into. Somebody asked me questions about lower highs, higher lows from yesterday. And prices are just chopping in a bullish manner. We just came off here. If this trend is, we're getting a lot of touches off this side, but this side's not so clean. But if this trend channel is in any way valid, you would be expecting prices to keep coming up here. So that's not something you'd want to take. Most people probably wouldn't take it anyway because there's not much room to the EMA, but that's not lower highs and higher lows. You're only going to take those in certain contexts. So yeah, that's not most of the time. That's just people who take that. That's just you looking for a pattern to trade, and its pattern is in terrible context because, and you can see, prices just ripped right through there. Because prices they're just generally bullish, although the price action's not very pretty and clean to read. You can just kind of tell prices want to go up. But as far as finding an entry point to get on with them, kind of difficult. So anyway, just wanted to make mention of that. Okay, so we pushed up pushed up into this area of the overnight high area. And so now I'm just watching to see if you get a reaction off it, because when you kind of zoom out and tighten it up, I know this is really tight. How about you can kind of see how steep this keeps getting steeper and steeper and steeper. So it looks like a parabolic move. And those sometimes, those are kind of the steeper and steeper the price action gets. I can't draw, like I don't have a curved line or anything, but you can see it just keeps getting steeper. And then those types of moves, they're usually unsustainable. Now, whether this will come down here, this may be a bullish day, but I'm just looking to see if we get some sort of relief off this area, being that this parabolic move just ran into the overnight high. But as far as try and take a short, I would not gamble on that just with how strong this move is. And now the EMA doesn't give you an opportunity to get a lower high. It just pushes down, immediately get a green bar, and that pretty much cancels any chance you have to taking a lower high before you hit the EMA. So again, just watching the price actions to see if we can get any good structures. Okay, I was kind of looking at this push down. We got this leg, second leg. It's a little awkward. Once we pushed up here, this bar, I was done looking for something. I was looking for some sort of rejection right here and push back down, but you don't get it. So, prices maybe wanting to head up here. If you start this as a leg and this is a leg, you have made a measured move. This looked like was starting to roll over more down into the range. So I was willing to take a setup here if it's set up, but it doesn't. So, yeah, so we just gotta wait, find another structure that we can trade. All right, we have this push up in two legs. I'm not really sure I care for this though, because this first leg, actually, and this could very well keep going up here. That doji's not really enticing to me. And this first leg, when we push up, we actually make a new high on the close, even though it's not a technical new high. And then you get a very heavy this second leg is like much heavier than that one looking. So I'm just not really enthused by that. So I'm just going to avoid that. I understand if you look at that and take that as the doji's not really enticing anyway, though it may take off from there. But um, if you see that as one leg, two legs back, and you take that, I understand. But maybe if this had finished better, but that's not. I don't like how that finishes. So I just skipped that. But it's I mean, if there's anything you're going to take today, that's the closest thing to taking anything today because you have this push up and you have these two legs. This just prints funny to me. Um, but yeah, it looks like it's going up there. So and I don't like how that finished with the doji, but um, that's just some nuances of the setups. So sometimes you be too picky and you miss stuff, and when you're a little bit pickier, like one of my commenters was the other day, then you avoid a loss. So did sit well with me, so I skipped it. If you liked it and took it, I understand. It is um it does fit the criteria, so to speak. You have this kind of looks played out. You have this push up, and then you get one leg, two legs back. But again, this bar being very heavy looking, and then you get your second leg ends in this doji. I'm not super enthused about taking that, but anyway, I'm just wait and look for the next one. Sorry, I know people are looking on their mobiles, so I zoomed in at this a little bit more just so you could see if you're having trouble. So you got this push up, you got this one leg back, and then you got this second leg back. I think the couple things that doesn't sit well with me is this makes a technical new high. Um, Second, this bar is very heavy compared to this. The selling on this second leg appears much heavier than the first leg. And then finally you end in this doji, which is not, ideal for me to be enthused if prices are stopping there. I'd prefer to see a decently bullish bar. Don't get it. So if you took that, I understand, but I skipped it. So we can see we're pushing down now, and that's so me skipping this. That's just kind of, I guess it's an experience thing. It still kind of wins. I mean, you know, in basic theory, you have move up, you have a first try, you've got and here comes your second try. But there's just something that didn't look right with, this first try already made a new high on the close, not technically, and sometimes the closes are kind of more important, and then you can see how that just appeared very heavy to sell off there, and of course the doji wasn't real enticing to go long on the doji there. But looks like you're getting a second leg down now. Again, with this being a second leg, if this develops into a trend, you just want to be careful on taking a pattern trade because sometimes the second legs do not if you would get a break on that, sometimes they don't you know re they don't retest because basically if you look at this as the move down, here's your break, and then on a bigger picture, on a smaller picture, we're looking, we're still your smaller price action is still attempting to play out even though it fails. So you get one attempt, two attempts, it fails. But now you're getting your second leg down here for this leg. So you want to be careful now that this move has made a new low. Be careful with looking for shorts now. So just not saying that you won't find one or you can't take it, but I would say the best practice is to just not, to skip stuff and wait for a new structure. Let me just also say, is this a place where I'm looking for like a higher low? No, because this is still looking like a very strong trend down. So, and right now you can kind of draw this structure here. So you're pretty much, if you're looking for like a higher low off something, you're basically blocked by this structure, and clearly the momentum is down right now. So where you might look for a higher low is like if this would break and then push down again, make a new low, and maybe that also coincides with coming back down here to the overnight low. So um, yeah, that's all I got for right now. But we'll see if this keeps pushing down real strong. Um, then you just have to it's kind of an experience thing. You want to be aware that you're in a second leg down here, but this looks very, very strong. And so you might consider this as its own trend that you could look to trade. So I would be the way this is pushing down, I'd probably be okay with looking for a short, provided you can find a clean trend. Let's see if we can draw it off the bottom like this and like that. I mean, it looks pretty good. So just not sure. And that's one thing. If you're just not sure, just skip it. Don't try to push the envelope if you don't really understand what's going on. But if we got two very clean legs, one, two, then I might entertain a short. Um, but I just have to wait and see how things print, how it develops. So be back in a little while. All right, so unfortunately we got no luck there. I'm gonna count this as a break, and now it's pushed to new lows. So um, waiting for something to reset. Maybe we push down here to the overnight low and we get some sort of strong rejection off of it. Maybe this is just going to be a big range day today. We pushed up here, couldn't make it get down, pushed back up to the highs, and now coming back down here. So let's just see what happens. I don't really care for going long here. Let's zoom in a little bit. The EMA is following down hard, getting very close, and this is not, when you get this bar and then doji, that's not rejection. That's it's price acceptance there. So, and now that we're really pushing down very strongly, not my thoughts of a higher low pretty much out the window now. I just got to wait. If I'm going to go long, it's going to need to reverse here. It's very, very strongly downward. Of course, this is probably super oversold now, so at some point you're going to get a bounce, I would imagine. We zoom out and look at this, but yeah, it's very, very bearish. So I'm just staying out of it for now and just waiting for some sort of structure then that I can be comfortable with trading off of. Okay, so this is pretty much all played out. Get this downtrend, you would break, it pushes way down outside the overnight low here, and then you try to push up, gets rejected again. We finally push up through the EMA, and so what you're looking for is you're looking for a strong trend back up into the range that you can get on with looking for a long, or either that or you're looking for like a long attempt to play out, like maybe this pushes up here, hits its head there on that and corrects, makes the second leg and then fails back down. And so at that point, then you could look to try to get shorts because the up move would have played out and failed back down. But right now, shorts are all done. They've pretty much been all done for me since you got this break here that didn't give you anything, and then pushed out. You got some chop here that tried to hold the overnight low, pushed back out again, and the whole time here I'm not looking for anything. I'm just waiting for, like I call a price reset. I'm waiting for the structure to play out,
and price to start doing something else. So it looks like we've got a nice strong move up here so far. See how this deals with the overnight low, and we'll see if we can get something. All right, so this is looking, we've pushed up into the overnight range again. So, hopefully we get a good structure here with correction and not some, choppy stuff like this that you can't do anything with. But that's what we're watching for. All right, so this is, you get this 20-point move up here from 66 to 86. So it's a long leg. So it makes, because this is pushing way down like 10 points now, it makes it difficult to try to figure out, if this is going to make a second leg up or, try for a new high. This is because of the length of it and the length of the correction. It's making it difficult to try to figure out where you might get in with that. So you almost have to just kind of lay off it unless something very clear shows up. But I'll keep watching it. But it when you get this sort of thing, it just starts pushing back down, and the legs are big. It makes it hard with the stops that you're trying to manage and the points you're trying to capture and entries you're trying to take. It makes it difficult to figure out where to enter. So anyway, keep watching. All right, so this just kind of flat reversed here on us. So you might, for the time being, look at this as one leg, two legs. But if this would keep going down, then certainly you could, extend this. This would kind of hold this pattern, keep going down. I would kind of look at this as one leg, two legs right now. So if I get a pattern here, I don't think I'd take it. I'd be looking for prices to just fall down here, which they might not, because you're also coming into an area where buying stepped in before. So it's just, kind of unfortunate there. But it does kind of look to me like two thin legs down. So I'd kind of play it that way for now. One thing I will say is that perhaps on a bigger picture, you've got this whole move down. Here's a break, and then you've got maybe this is like the retest for this larger move down. So, in a smaller picture, you've got this, breaks, pushes down, attempts to reverse, but overall, perhaps the bigger picture is this as a trend down. Let's get rid of that. And then, this is your break, and here's your retest. So sometimes that even I kind of forget about the layered nature of the price action. So, that's probably what's happening here now, is you're getting this bigger trend down is now making a new low. So let's just see if we, I don't know if we can extend that or not. So, but when you're dealing with larger structures, it makes it difficult to do the smaller picture trading that we like to do. You're not gonna, it's hard, it's very hard to tell where the moves are, so, you're not gonna like short there and think, oh, I'm gonna just get in with this, I know this is gonna retest. Well, you don't, you just don't know where it's gonna happen. So anyway, it's getting to be a longer video today, but there's lots not setups really, but lots of stuff going on. So we'll just keep following. All right, so this is rough here. I think I'm gonna have to skip this. So you've got this big downtrend, break, new low. So now you have this downtrend. It's trying to make a new low, or you're getting two legs back. Actually, this doesn't look like, I was concerned that you might get some sort of setup here to go short off two legs. But with this downtrend being played out and you're in this area, where prices were bought before, it makes it a little sketchy to try to take a pattern short here. If this was all that you had and you didn't have this, then that makes it easier to take that trade. But I'd be concerned about getting trapped here because this big trend has made a new low. So unfortunately, if something sets up there, even if it wins, I'm just going to lay off it. I can't take it. The context is kind of starting to get against you. All right, so yeah, I can see there. I mean, if you went for a very small target on that second entry, you scraped out of it. But if you try to go for like 2 points or something, backed up on you, and I was just worried about this area as an area of buying coming in. It does actually make, you get basically these 2 legs end up becoming 1 leg, and then you get this second leg up. But if this did work as a trade, I'm certainly not going to go there. You could be getting trapped into a reversal trend up here. So I definitely don't want to short that into the EMA. And now everything is super played out now. This is broken, new low. Even this trend is on the break, new low. Maybe we'll get some sort of reversal up now, or at the very least, you need to wait and see if you get some sort of relief buying that comes in where you get something, maybe this pushes up and you get a break and a new high and then it heads back down. So you want to wait until a bullish price action plays out. So it's either like pumps up, we start fading back up in, or we start pushing up and it fails back down after a short-term play out of a bullish move. So that's what I'll be watching now. Definitely looks like the buying's coming in here a little bit more now since all this stuff has played out, but we'll just see what happens.
Okay, I don't see anything here actionable. We started to push up here and then just dumped right back down. And at that point, you actually get. I didn't actually measure this until it happened, but you get 2 big measured legs down. Not that you can do anything. I'm not gonna just buy this green bar or something. At the measured move. It's way too spread out. It's not off of anything else. And it looks like you get 2 legs up here. Very choppy. Very hard to buy when you are consistently make a decision to buy when you're consistently just keep getting pushed down when you would be expecting reversals. I'm looking at this as then you get this move down. I'm looking at this as like a double bottom. I was not even thinking about, trying to short here. And of course that, whatever that was, just gets wiped out. A bunch of volume comes in. And so, it's just a standard practice. You keep watching and look for things that you can trade. So I haven't seen a whole lot so far today, but that's just the way it goes.
Okay, so just a little update here. So basically, you get in a choppy fashion, you get 1 leg up, you get a second leg up. So you have this like uptrend, bounces off the EMA. I'm not sure that I will think about taking that there because you just bounced off the EMA, so is price going higher? And then you push down and you push up one more time. This is probably an aggressive one if you want to get a little aggressive with a short here because you've bounced up in the relative same area that you sold off before, and you get it's kind of like a little reverse waterfall, pushes up, and then you get this good signal bar here. I didn't take it, but it's I'd call it more aggressive because you are still bouncing off the EMA, but you've got about almost 4 points to the EMA there, and prices when it came up to this area before it sold off. So you might expect it would sell off again to go back to the EMA, but I didn't take that. but that's an aggressive one if you were thinking about it, because you're getting selling coming in at the same spot you did before. And it seems like prices are, when they hit these decent signal bars, that's way too risky there. But you're getting selling coming in at these areas. So push down and just chop it along here. So there's nothing else I see. But we'll just continue to watch the price action. A quick update here. So we came off these highs after these two legs up. Push down. I'm kind of leery about going short because you have this support. This kind of looks rangy to me. And I'm just not sure if this is just a choppy two legs up and then prices trying to head lower now. But I'm not a fan of trying to short into. This just looks really trappy to take any shorts into here. Maybe we'll end up with, a range, and maybe we'll come off here and push back up to this other side. This could have just been two legs. Today's a pretty tricky day. It's really difficult to read and be confident in taking something. This is like the only thing I think really thought about. Everything else is just this one was pretty tricky here. If you were not really aware of this, if you were kind of looking at just at this downtrend, you could have easily been trapped here if you weren't aware of this as maybe being a break and a push to a new low. So that's kind of tricky. And then you just get, there's a lot of volume, pretty decent volume today, and the price action is not terrible in the way bars are printing, but you're just not getting like clear setups and clear direction where prices are going or what they're doing. So yeah, so I don't know, maybe viewing this as a range right now. We'll see what prices do down here in this area. So yeah, other than that, just I don't really have any ideas. All right, everybody, really hoping for we got this nice trend up. Only concern is it is right into this level, but I'm not super concerned about it, because when you get a good print, this is a really nice two-legged correction, but it just doesn't give us a good bar here. And by the time this decides to move up, I just wanted this thing to close bullish to tell me that this move was over, because this is continuing to close lower, and I don't like to just assume this is going to be the end when price just keeps closing lower. So unfortunately, that didn't, we didn't get a good print there on that, and so yeah, didn't take that trade. But that's probably about, this one's pretty decent, I think. And then this was probably about the best setup we were going to see today. And you just kind of, you need that one last box checked where you get a good signal bar, because you just don't know if this is if this is the end of that correction or not. So anyway, 9 minutes to go till the close, so probably just I'll just probably wrap it up here, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. We just had quite a bit of volume today. Just not real clear, very very tricky and choppy. The printing wasn't terrible, but just where the direction was headed was kind of difficult to determine. So I thought we were going to get something good here and just didn't get it. So yeah, I'll just be back again tomorrow. Rather long video today, but there's just a lot going on. A lot I wanted to talk about as prices were developing. So Anyway, hope you enjoy it. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.